time, we are going to do a segment that is a staple on this show called generic interview questions. Those generic wrestling questions. Those of you that have seen my interviews before will notice where I'll ask Chris his favorite wrestling match, favorite overall pay-per-view card, such as Double or Nothing 2019, for example, his favorite wrestler's entrance theme, favorite tag team, and favorite wrestler. Basically, the questions I assume Chris might be asked on social media. So now he'll have a place to be like, guys, I have answered this. Please go watch this. I know the answer, but what is your favorite match of all time?
Yeah, just clip this part out, and then these will be the answers. They will never change. They might, I don't know. But
Fair
for
enough.
now, these are the answers.
So what's your favorite match of all time, Chris?
That's Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18. That answer will never change. That match is so special to me for so many reasons. The most important being that I was there, but that's one of those matches that if you put it on mute, it still tells an amazing story. So yeah, Rock Hogan for sure. I have the poster just off camera here with my ticket stub in the bottom corner. Can you believe, Tom, you were able to sit at WrestleMania 18 in the 16th row for $135 Canadian,
Oh,
I believe,
wow.
too.
That's very cool. What
Yeah,
about
now
your
that'd be like $900.
and if that, maybe more, if I'm being totally honest. What about your favorite overall pay-per-view card?
I think it's WrestleMania 17. And that was the second WrestleMania that I ever watched. But when you look at that whole card, TLC's on there, Rock Austin's on there. That's top to bottom. That's a pretty solid card. That will be my classic answer. I think a really strong case could be made for one of the modern WrestleManias too. Like WrestleMania 40 was, especially night two, pretty fantastic. WrestleMania 39, also really solid top to bottom. So it's hard with recency bias. And I talk about how nostalgia and recency bias, kind of butt up against each other because they're two very powerful forces. I have a prediction that in like 20-ish years, people will be talking about 40 like it was like the way that we talk about 17 now.
I would fully agree. What about your favorite wrestler's entrance theme?
It's one of Triple H's themes. So I was a big fan of the 1-2. Is this on? When he went full heel and
My
then
time.
that so like Triple H was one of my favorites, still is one of my favorites. So I think it was that theme. I listened to that on repeat. Then when that became Motorhead, the game, also equally as good for different reasons. But I think if we're just going to lean into nostalgia here, it's got to be the My Time theme. So good.
What about your favorite tag team, Chris?
The Hardy Boys. And if you watch my backyard wrestling clips,
I've seen this.
maybe don't, but actually they're pretty good. I feel like
What about
there's
Hardy for
real
they were cool?
potential there. But if you look at these, I was heavily inspired by both Matt and Jeff. And I did the Twist of Fate, I did the Swanton Bomb. I remember watching Dudley's versus Hardy's at Royal Rumble 2000, the tables match. And I remember watching that on repeat and just being like, how did they do this? So there's a lot of great tag teams. And I'm not trying to say that the other ones aren't great, but the Hardy Boys were really special to me.
What about and then finally, Chris, the biggest generic question in my opinion. Who's your favorite wrestler?
It's got to be The Rock.
Mm.
The Rock was one of the biggest personalities that got me in and made me the fan that I was in the Attitude Era. And then when you look at The Rock at every phase of his career, not just wrestling career, but just every phase of his career, he's brought something new to the table, whether it was Hollywood Rock or the Final Boss or Corporate Rock. I'm so entertained by The Rock, whether he's in the ring or he's on the mic. And I think that he exceeded everybody's expectations at WrestleMania 40. I think
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that went, man, he hasn't wrestled a real match. It's funny that everyone says he hasn't wrestled a match in 8 years. Like they're counting the Eric Rowan match, and that is no disrespect to Eric Rowan. I love him, but that wasn't really a match. That was a rock bottom followed by a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So Rock really hadn't wrestled a full match
In
in a
11
decade.
years.
Yeah. And so it's like he went out there and he didn't miss a beat. And I think it speaks to the dedication that he has to his craft. And it speaks to the athleticism that he has. As we record this today, it is The Rock's birthday.
Yes,
The
it
Rock
is.
is 52 years old, still looks the way he does, still moves the way he does. There's, whether you like The Rock or not, there's a real lesson to be learned there from just the dedication and the perseverance that he has. Yeah, there's something that's very impressive about that.